chaps. Familiar faces.
All in. Heck of a result, Brendan, but an even better performance. I would have thought you must be really pleased with both sort of elements coming together.
Yeah. No, I thought, as you say, it was a fantastic performance, and I think when you come to Goodison, you know you're going to be in for a game. You got to, the crowd really get behind the team and support the team. So I was really pleased with how we defended, our concentration, and we didn't give away too many opportunities. But then our confidence and composure with the ball in an environment which, like I said, can be tough. We played with a real calmness and quality. So yeah, just frustrated first half towards the end when we had broke into so many good positions and didn't find the right pass, either through quality or a little bit of key slipped in a moment. But no, I think over the course of the game, the players were very good.
Brendan, not seeing much of James Maddison, but obviously you're just thinking, Wout today, the way he played. I mean, he can't do any more, can he?
No, Chris, this boy's been like this, for 18 months. And if we're playing here in the most competitive league in the world, and his level of performance, firstly without the ball, he's a player that's improved in that aspect of his game, which every coach wants to see. They want to see the gifted players working, pressing. That's what the top level's about. But if you're talking technical level and tactical idea and efficiency, he's right up there. He's one of the best players in this league. There's absolutely no question. Never mind in England. We're talking in this league which is full of world-class superstars, and he is a superstar. And what a player!
Brendan, can you put your finger on the difference between the first 7 games of the season and the last 7 games of the season? 5 clean sheets. You're closing out games now when you're ahead. That nervousness seems to be dissipating. What's changed? Just confidence, Rob. I think, as I said, and everyone knows who's been close to the club will know how difficult it was for us in the market, and then that overspilled into the beginning of the season because we lost a couple of important players. We had to change the system, and then everything that we'd worked on, and everything. The summer was tough for us. But I always said, just with patience and composure and with work on the training field, we can get the guys back to the level. And it's great to see, coming to here tonight, to see them playing with that joy and that spirit and quality. And like I said, you see Wout coming into the team. He was one player that we brought in, and you see the difference that he makes and the calmness and how he plays. I think Wardy's now really settling in. I think probably for the supporters as well, there was probably real frustration at the beginning of the season. We'd hardly made any signings and lost a club legend, and obviously then results weren't so good. But you've got to keep your patience and with the players, because they've been amazing for me, and it was just continue with that work, and we're now getting somewhere back to a level where we look like a good side.
Can I just ask, with this sort of strange season where you've got a 6-week break coming up, what's it going to be like for those teams who are in the bottom 3 going into that break? Is there a big advantage not being in that bottom 3 come November and not having to look at the league table and all the pressure that comes over that 6 weeks? Is there a sort of psychological edge to you if you carry on now and stay out that bottom 3?
Well, there can be. I think for us, the idea back even when we were down towards the bottom, I'd say to the players, we stay calm and let's work our way through and see if we can get towards mid-table by the break. That was our aim. If you're in that, of course, it's still a long way to go in the season. But I suppose to sit and look at it for 6 weeks isn't so nice. But it's something that's there. But there's loads of games when everyone comes back. But for us, I'm just so happy for the players. And the supporters, they've had some tough results in the early part of the season. But they come here tonight and they know you've got to turn up at Goodison because it's a hostile environment. You've got to be strong, you've got to be resilient, and then you've got to have the courage to play. And I think they'll be proud of their team heading back down the motorway.
Brendan, are you an example of what can be achieved if patience is shown to managers? Because obviously we've seen a few other managers in the league lose their jobs at the start of the season. you've been afforded time and you've turned around the team's performances. You're looking like you did a couple of years ago. Are you an example of what the achieved with Pains has shown?
No, listen, it's all individual in it. The club, I think the connection we have at the club and what we have with the owners and the board is very strong. I think with the greatest respect, they understood the difficulties of the summer, and they've always had a trust in me. And as I said earlier, they expect me with what I've done at the club and how we've worked to move the team away from it. So, but it's just, yeah, we have a strong connection. And listen, if the results weren't good enough and they hadn't seen progress or certainly what we've shown, then no matter the bond or the trust, you can be out of work. But my focus was lasered into the team, getting us back to a level, getting that composure and getting the confidence so they can start winning games again.
Brendan, do you mind on Maddison, because he spoke on television afterwards. It was quite touching. He was clearly desperate to go to the World Cup if he can, because he said it was the pinnacle, and Youri was standing next to him and said, Youri's going, I'd love to go. You could see he was almost bracing himself if it doesn't happen, not to let it kind of affect him too much. He didn't seem like a flash. I mean, from afar he's got this image of being a bit flash, but just tell us what kind of character is he away from him?
No, listen, this is a game where people will create a narrative and they'll spin stories to, as you guys will know, to create a story around a certain player. And that's what's been created with him. Yeah, of course, listen, he's a young guy that's played in lower leagues and he's come into the highest level, and yeah, he might have his Louis Vuitton bags and whatever else stuff, but listen, he loves football. And he made some mistakes, which he would admit as well. But for me, this is the joy I have in working with him every day is just, I couldn't buy that. Just seeing him every morning in the restaurant and talking football and having breakfast and out on the field, you'd pay to watch him train. He's so good. And then I'm very lucky where I don't have to pay to watch him play football in the biggest stadiums. And this boy is built for a World Cup. Now, this boy can go into 150,000 stadium, it doesn't matter. He can take the ball, he'll pass the ball, he'll be creative. That's his stage. And like I said, and everyone has seen it, and that's why I keep getting asked the questions on him. He's one of the best players in the Premier League who happens to be English. And there's other incredible talents about, but just look at his numbers and look at what he produces in games, and yeah, he's such a brilliant guy who has matured. Don't get me wrong. When I came in a few years ago, and listen, I left this player out of the FA Cup, out of an FA Cup final, because of certain aspects of his game I didn't like, but he's always responded. So he has a resilience. He has a toughness, and he's a top player.
And can I just come in on the back of that resilience, because we were wondering if because there's such a clamour and because he's been in such a run of form, that if he doesn't get there, are you conscious that you might lose heart in the second half of the season when he's had 6 weeks to dwell on it and watch it and then come back, or is that another test for you, or do you not think if he doesn't go it will affect him? No,
it won't. You actually think on it. He's had one cap.
Yeah.
So he's already of a mindset and an anticipation like he has been when he hasn't been in the squads. But listen, there's been other challenges along the way when he hasn't played, when he maybe thought he should have played, but we've spoken a lot about it, and listen, if it's not to be for him, he'll have some time with his family, and he'll come back and push even harder in the second part of the season, or when we return. So naturally there would be disappointment, I think, for any player. We've got other players, we've got some of our Belgian boys as well that maybe unsure if they're going to get in the squads. But for James, I don't have any doubt whatsoever that he'll consistently play at the level he's been at.
Brendan, do you think the Youri having the armband over these past few games has elevated his performance? It's almost as if he's taken on that responsibility and improving his own game because of that.
May well be, Jordan. May well be. He doesn't need the armband to play to that level, but but he's a player of great maturity, and I've always said, even though in his last year of his contract, his commitment and how he looks after himself and how he drives on the other players every day, it's fantastic. And I know he's really enjoying the responsibility.
I don't think we're going to get to speak to you before Tuesday's game.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the Carabao Cup this season and the game against a lower league opposition?
No, listen, we want to get through. I won't be making too many changes. You know, we had tonight's game, we get game on Tuesday, and a lot of the players need to be ready to go again. You know, I changed the team about when we went to Stockport and we nearly went out. I don't want to do that. I want to go through, and I think I've shown that every time I've been here in the cup competition. So we'll make some changes naturally, but there won't be too many.
Thank you very much.
Okay, safe trip home, guys.